Ling Han could not withhold a smile from turning up at the corners of his lips and said, "Are you sure you want this seat?" "Hang, this was originally my seat," Jin Wuji said coldly. "Very well, since you want it, then I'll just let you have it." Ling Han stood up very candidly. "Pooh!" Quite a few people exclaimed in surprise, because there really was too big a difference between what Ling Han was doing now and what he had done just now. Previously, Ling Han had even dared to thrash the disciple of someone who excelled in sword arts and alchemy openly in front of the first prince. Yet, now he was actually scared off. It was inconceivable. It was really inconceivable. They were not the only ones who thought it was inconceivable. Liu Yutong was in complete bewilderment. Ling Han had left a very distinct impression on her. Though he may appear to be utterly calm, he was prouder than anyone else. How was it possible that he would give in to Jin Wuji's demand? If they really had to battle, she was adequate enough to face Jin Wuji. And even if the Jin clan stepped out and interfered, didn't he still have the colossal existence of Heaven's Medicine Pavilion behind him? In the whole of Rain Country, what party would dare to offend Heaven's Medicine Pavilion? None. There were definitely none. Because this huge power did not only exist in Rain Country, but also possessed branches in the 9 countries in the desolate north. So whether it was in terms of power or wealth, it had a terrifying amount of both. Just think, when martial artists cultivate, they would definitely need the support of alchemical pills, and Heaven's Medicine Pavilion was a place where alchemical pills could be sold. So how could there be a lack of elite martial artists willing to act on their behalf? From the reverence and respect Zhu Heixin felt towards Ling Han, he had practically recognized the latter as his teacher. If the Jin clan dared to harm Ling Han, he would definitely unleash the power of the Heaven's Medicine Pavilion branch of Rain Country and obliterate the Jin clan. Since the facts were as so, then why would he need to fear? Ling Han stretched out an arm and drew Liu Yutong to himself. An enchanting blush instantly appeared on the young girl's beautiful face, and there was absolutely no hint of the icy beauty from before. Damn! When they saw this dazzling, extraordinarily beautiful maiden, everyone was filled with such irrepressible jealousy that their eyes turned red, wanting nothing more than to chop off the arm Ling Han was holding Liu Yutong with. Liu Yutong's mind had completely blanked. She only felt as if she was walking on clouds, and when she followed Ling Han to sit in one of the tables at the row further behind, even though Ling Han had long withdrawn his arm, she still had not regained her senses. Her heart was still rapidly beating. "Just wait and we'll see a good show," Ling Han said softly by her ear. Liu Yutong froze at this and said, "What good show?" Ling Han pouted a bit and said, "Don't forget that Guo something from just now had gone to get reinforcements." "You're planning to trick Jin Wuji?" Liu Yutong finally understood. Ling Han smiled and said, "I've already asked him if he really wanted that seat, and he himself agreed to it. So what does that have to do with me?" Liu Yutong could not help pursing her lips in a delicate smile, but immediately frowned and said, "Duanwu Changfeng couldn't be that hot-headed, right? I bet he has already restrained a whole stomach's worth of anger from yesterday, and when that Guo whatever returned, he'd definitely exaggerate the story. Thus the old man's wrath would definitely be extraordinarily large. Moreover, when I was thrashing that Guo whatever, I immediately acted without saying a single word." Ling Han laughed and said, "So there is a high possibility that the old guy would do something like that. When that Duanmu Changfeng realizes that he has punished the wrong person, he would definitely focus on you." Liu Yutong's delicate brow wrinkled in a frown. "I think that, by that time, Zhu Heixin and Zhang Weishan will have already arrived. However, even if they have not, I have my own ways of dealing with that old man." Ling Han revealed a confident smile. For Zhu Heixin had told about Duanmu Changfeng to him. The old man was praised as one who excelled in sword arts and alchemy, and the sword technique that he practiced was sweeping cloud sword arts, a black-grade low-level martial arts technique. However, the old man only managed to learn 7 moves, while the complete sweeping cloud sword arts had a total of 9 moves. The book of sword arts techniques that the old guy managed to get his hands on should be a partially ruined relic, which was why he had not managed to learn the last 2 moves. Coincidentally, Ling Han possessed the complete sweeping cloud sword arts, so no matter from which angle one looked, he had the upper hand in the upcoming confrontation. Liu Yutong has definitely been badly influenced by Ling Han, and she could not withhold an expectant look from appearing on her face. Because of Ling Han's lack of moral backbone, all of the guests felt shame for sharing his company, thus no one else spoke to him. Meanwhile, Jin Wuxiang turned his head repeatedly, displaying a challenging expression to Ling Han. From his expression, he had clearly held disdain for Ling Han as well. He had originally thought that Ling Han would be stubborn, and in that way, his elder brother would definitely have an excuse to heavily injure Ling Han. He had never thought that the guy was the type to bully the weak while fearing the strong. But do you think that you'll be able to escape just like this? Jin Wuxiang humphed coldly in his heart. Once the banquet ended and they had left the residence of the fourth prince, Jin Wuji would definitely act and ruthlessly teach Ling Han a lesson. They still had to give face to the fourth prince. Ling Han's capitulation was something that even Qi Yongye had not thought would happen, so he too grew disdainful of Ling Han. As a result, he did not bother to waste any more time on Ling Han and went on with his original plans, starting to persuade the other guests in hope that everyone invited would agree to support him. "Master, that's him!" Not long after, a voice filled with fury was heard. Guo Dingquan had once again appeared at the entry to the main hall, and he was pointing inside. Everyone turned around at this, but they only felt their eyes blurring as a figure flew past with a terrifying speed. It was an old man dressed in a gray robe with a sword on his back. His figure flashed by and soon appeared next to Jin Wuji. He then stretched out a hand, took hold of Jin Wuji's neck, and fiercely pressed it down. Pang! The power behind this move was extremely large, and it had broken the table into two halves. By now, the dishes and wine had all been served, so instantly the wine and gravy from the dishes had all splattered onto Jin Wuji's face. This was an uninvited calamity. Definitely an uninvited calamity. How could Jin Wuji have imagined that someone would actually dare attack him? Moreover, his attacker was so overwhelmingly powerful that he didn't even have the ability to defend himself, and in such a confusion, suffered this kind of calamity. "Ha! You were so arrogant. Why don't you try being arrogant again?" Guo Dingquan had raced over and aimed a few kicks on Jin Wuji's behind. His whole face was twisted in fury, as if he wanted nothing more than to commit murder. Jin Wuxiang was initially startled, before shouting, "Why are you beating him up?" He felt very wronged, because all this while, the Jin brothers were always the ones who bullied others. Yet today, his elder brother had actually been thrashed by two people they had never even met before. He didn't even manage to react in time due to shock. Guo Dingquan took one glance at him, and only felt that Jin Wuxiang was a completely unfamiliar face. It was not the icy beauty from before. Still, he did not take this disparity to heart, and only continued to kick Jin Wuji furiously. The people involved in the confrontation each had their own side. One side had misunderstood while the other side was stuck in a complete daze, but others immediately came to a realization. Guo Dingquan had brought his master, who excelled in both sword arts and alchemy, Duanmu Changfeng, yet had hit the wrong target. Poor Jin Wuji. He was painfully thrashed for no reason. At this moment, he had to be feeling extremely gloomy. No wonder Ling Han had yielded the seat to Jin Wuji just now. Apparently, he had already planned to lay a trap for him. Damn, this guy was really too devious. When they saw that Jin Wuji was still being thrashed while Jin Wuxiang seemed to be at a complete loss, quite a few people could not hold themselves back from laughing out loud. Moreover, the laughter was getting louder and louder, and finally spread to all the others, as everyone held their stomachs and laughed raucously. Guo Dingquan too finally realized that something was wrong. He turned Jin Wuji to face him, and when he saw the unfamiliar face that was completely splattered with wine and gravy, he could not help giving a start and said, "Who are you? Pooh!" Jin Wuji instantly spat out a mouthful of blood in anger. "You don't even fucking know who I am. Then why did you beat me up? And you had thrashed me so ferociously even. Who had he actually offended? No matter who you people are, I will definitely have you pay the price," he roared in fury.